You are now listening to Femme Regard Podcast with Tessa Markle
and Carolina Alvarez.
Femme. Hello, lovely listeners. I want to remind you guys, if you aren't doing so already, hop onto social media. Follow us at Femme Regard on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. And not necessarily new, but improved YouTube. So make sure you're subscribing.
Yes. Make sure you're subscribing so you can listen to the lovely guests that we have on the show, like today's guest, Miss Isabella Tan. Okay.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm like, a lot of hype there. Thank you. She came all the way from New York, guys, just to be on our show. Just for us, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We're very
100%.
excited.
You're not doing any cool projects. You're not.
No. This is the only thing I'm here for.
Exactly.
Absolutely. No, we're so excited. She is a cinematographer, director, photographer, creative director, executive creative director. Hello, let's get that title straight.
Thank you.
Rebel Motion, which I'm so excited to hear about. And she's like from Malaysia. Or
Technically from Malaysia all the way. Yeah, I was born in Taiwan, grew up in Malaysia, and then moved to the US about 5 years ago to go to NYU. Whoop. No, it's a great school. It's a wonderful school. Went to film school, and then now I'm here
Awesome.
in LA.
And we found on Instagram, guys. So like that just goes to show you can find people anywhere to connect with.
And what drew me to it were your colors, your subjects, which I love the international vibe that you had on your page and your photos. So that is definitely why I reached out. Guys, you should definitely check out her page because, yeah, and make some connections. I met up with her in New York, I think a year ago.
Was
Oh
it
my
that
God,
long
was it
ago?
a year?
That's gross, but yes. I'm pretty sure it was a year ago.
Disgusting. What?
I know. And I'm like sweating here like I was sweating at our meeting in New York. It was like really hot. Mike, where's the AC? Yo. JK. But it was, yeah, we were working on our Western. We were just talking about it's been a long journey.
Yeah.
And we've come a long way. But nonetheless, let's have some tea.
Oh, yes.
Today we are sporting sensual seasonings. Celestial. I said essential.
Sensual seasonings.
Oh dear. What kind of podcast is this again? What are we
Put that
talking about?
chamomile to work.
in LA. No, we're doing honey vanilla chamomile on this super hot day. We're just having, guys, it's
So
already
wonderfully refreshing. Love it.
right. I know. I was gonna say, are you a tea drinker? Are you a coffee drinker? What's your thing?
I absolutely love coffee, but I never liked coffee until I moved to New York City. So I think it's like the city that kind of made it happen. Before that, I was strictly just a tea person. Thank you, Mom.
Same.
But unfortunately now it's like I don't know if I can function without the black juice.
Yeah, I hear you. Every morning.
Yeah.
right away.
Yep.
Yeah. But tea is great. I mean, it's good for you. It's supposed to be more
It's like right
hydrating.
before bed too.
Yeah.
You know,
Good for the
get
end
in
of the
your
day, a little
place.
relax.
But yeah, I also didn't start drinking coffee till like a year ago. So now I'm like, I need it every
it's so bad.
day.
It's so addicting and terrible.
I mean, I think it's still better than like energy drinks. I know you're on that train too, Carolina, but
Red Bulls
all the way, all the way.
This is not an ad.
yeah.
No. But we're always like, hey guys, you want to give us some free
Yeah, we will
product?
totally sport some
We
Red
will
Bull if Red Bull
sport
wants to
Red Bull,
sponsor us.
You know, that's totally fine.
Shout out.
Shout out. No, so tell us how. So you started NYU. Let's take it all the way back. Like,
Sure.
Why filmmaking? What brought you there?
Yeah, so my family are very business oriented people. So kind
love the
of
way she
all the
puts
way left wing there. And growing up I'm the youngest daughter of three siblings of mine. So youngest of the four, only girl. And obviously my entire family kind of moved into business naturally, kind of following my dad's footsteps. And we have a family business back home. So that seemed like the natural progression for me. But obviously as the not over like, you know, super cliche black sheep of the family, decided that the arts was where I had my passion. And I was a photographer for several years, doing a lot of fashion photography, fine artwork in Malaysia, and kind of naturally moved into film from there.
Nice.
And yeah, it's kind of funny. It's a very strange story filled with like weird twists and turns. Not to make my life sound like a movie or anything, but I was supposed to be doing law and business, and but I just did photography as a hobby, and the film teacher back then
Mhm.
kind of found me editing stuff after school, and he was like, "Why are you not in my class?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was cool. Later on though, it became this weird like scandalous thing where it eventually turned into him kind of like weirdly hitting on me,
Uh-oh.
which kind of really set my own expectations down. I really thought
Yeah.
like, oh, this is
Mhm.
I'm not really that good at what I do. This is just because
Mm-hmm.
they wanted something else from me. But at the end of the day, I still pursued it and I loved it. And my parents were so unhappy with me when I first told them I'm dropping law and business for this. And they were not the most supportive at first, but I think after really showing them how much I cared about it, how important it was to me, and how I feel that how much I can do with it, you
Mhm.
know, and so they finally let me just do the thing and move out here. And it was my
awesome.
first time in the U.S. was to go straight to NYU.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
And you've been pretty successful. I mean, your parents should be pretty proud of
She's
you at this point.
award winning.
Yeah.
Okay, award winning. And I love that. And a lot of it, I think you trace back to, I guess like the standards from a cultural standpoint.
Yes.
And I love that you showcase that because I've met some other cinematographers who are out here who come from a similar background, and it's like a culture shock in itself moving here. I think for
absolutely.
a lot
That was
of them.
so scary. New York City is terrifying in general, but like for somebody who's only known the U.S. from pop culture,
Right.
and coming all the way here, being like, huh. So Gossip Girl's not really a thing. People randomly screaming at you on the street is okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Get out of my way.
It's a lot dirtier, a lot meaner.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who is transitioning out here or wants to? Because I know that is something it's tough. It just overall tough.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I kind of just threw myself into the deep end doing what I did, and I feel like, and I tell this to anyone who asks me like how would you start, like really think about what this means to you. If this profession is what you need to almost have to want to do this, like there's no other option for you. You need to have that burning passion inside you, because there's so many things that are going to go wrong, and there's so many obstacles that are going to be thrown in your path, especially if you're making a big move like this. And you just have to be ready for that, and you have to know that at the end of the day, and no pressure guys, but end of the day, this is what you need to do with your life, and that's what's going to push you and carry you forward, and with all the convictions and stuff, because you guys know too, we keep getting thrown like curveballs here and there. And
100%.
you can't, it's hard to bounce back from that unless you have to.
You have to do this. Yes.
Exactly.
And would you say to those listeners as well that would they be pigeonholing themselves if they're trying to assimilate by not using the culture that they have? Like, I feel like a lot of them are scared to be like, well, I don't want to be known as like the Asian director who directs Asian films. But I feel like it's a more empowering story that they can tell from within, because that's something, there's still a relatable aspect, right? There's still that human aspect that everyone's going to draw on, but not everyone's gone through like something you've gone through, right?
Yeah.
Assimilating into a country, the film industry. So, do you agree with that? Do you feel like, what advice could you give to those people who are like, I feel like I have to be a certain way to make it in this industry?
I mean, honestly, I had that problem when I first got here. I was very much like, how do I make myself as American as possible? You know, and it was a goal of mine almost to become that way, and because Hollywood, especially 4 years ago, had kind of like shaped what it means for you to be a successful filmmaker, which is like, white male. And I was like, how do I bring out my white male inside my body? And for a long time, I actually actively avoided hanging out with other Asians, and I actively avoided, just kind of being seen as the weird exotic girl that just moved from another country. And it wasn't until honestly like the last couple of years where the more I realized that there are ways to change mainstream media, you know, as long as you go about it. You just have to be smart about the way we do it. You know, in the past year, Crazy Rich Asians and all these other films that have come out have really started to shift the way people see Asian people in Hollywood. And that was, and even before that, I already started thinking, you know, we all have unique stories. So why am I trying so hard to fit in to other people's stories when I can just tell my own and be proud of it? And it took me so long to do that. Thank you.
No, I love that. I feel like a lot of people need to hear that who are trying to come here.
And it's okay. You know, it's okay that we're not, it's okay that we're not American. It's okay that we're not.
Man in his 50s? It's
Trust
totally
me, that
fine.
gets real boring real quick. I'm over it.
Sorry to all my friends. But, you know, and especially as a DP, you know, especially working as a DP, even as a director, but especially in the camera department when it's so predominantly male, which it is. It's like a bro fest in the camera and G&E department. And I kind of love it. You know, growing up with three brothers really helped me with that. I really can connect to like a lot of the guys I've become friends with, and they all super respectful. And I feel like it's just getting seen more and just knowing that you can do it. And a lot of the things that make me sad are when I go home back to Asia, because the film industry there is not, I mean, Southeast Asia, the film industry is not as big, obviously, you know, as other places. And meeting a lot of women who do want to become DPs, but when I talk to them about it, they're like, oh, I mean, I just don't feel like I can. And that like really saddens me. So it's always like, you can do it. I know it seems a little hard and impossible, but anyone, you can do whatever you want as long as you just really push forward with it.
Yeah. Even though they see you're doing it, there's still that strong, I can't be a part of that.
Because they kind of accept that the culture back there is that women are not
because
DPs.
they're not coming over here. They're there. They feel like they can't break the grounds there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I always have to like, so it's been a dream of mine, and you know, that's kind of why Rebel Motion became what it is, because I wanted to be a kind of bridge between America / international media and Malaysia, which is like still very cool but very small Southeast Asian country that not a lot of people know about. I literally get asked if we live in treetops still, like if we have tree houses. So I feel like one of the, like, at least for me personally, growing up and kind of being embarrassed about my culture and who I was when I was much younger was mainly because of media, like like not just movies and TV, but mostly advertising. Like, you know, there's this obsession with especially in Asia, like, you know, seeing white faces and kind of like, you know, that was what we wanted to be like. So a lot of whitening creams and, you know,
brightening masks, like face masks.
Exactly. And it was, and a lot of people just perceived like Asians to be just not as pretty. And that kind of prompted me to realize that to change our perceptions of people of color in other cultures, you just have to normalize them. And the best way to do that is just to represent them in advertising and branded content, because that's what we absorb every day.
Right.
It's just ads and ads and ads. So if we start putting other like stories out there about all types of people, all types of relationships, all types of sexualities, then eventually it'll become normalized instead of being like a
taboo. Like
exactly.
Like this. Yeah. I never would have thought about it like that until you, I mean, it's so obvious, but is like, I love that that's the backbone to Rebel Motion. So how did you find your team? How did you find other people to join? Like, where was the fetus of all of this created?
So honestly, it started with me and just having conversations with other female filmmakers and just talking about, oh, what is the kind of company we wish we could work for? You know, it should be inclusive. It should be very inclusive and very, like, you know, from people with different backgrounds and from different places coming together and telling stories that other people couldn't tell because they haven't had the experiences that we've had. And we kept talking about it. And through all the internships I was in during my time in college, I was kind of like, oh, none of these places that I've worked at is the kind of place I want to work at.
Yeah.
And then I guess thank you to my family and their entrepreneurial background. But it kind of hit me that, like, if you can't find a place that you want to work for, why don't you make it?
Yeah,
make the place that you want to work for.
exactly.
And it kind of birthed from that. So me and close group of friends just kind of coming together and doing the work. But there were definitely challenges. Obviously, film is all about working with your friends. But when you start a business, it's kind of, you have to kind of know where that line is. And it's
Oh, yeah.
difficult sometimes with friends to, where do I cross the line, or where do I draw the line even, between boss and,
Yeah.
coworker and friend. So that was definitely a struggle. But
How
after-
many are
yeah.
you on the team right now?
Right now we are 2. So
Just like us.
wink, wink. We had a much larger group at first, and I thought that's what we needed to be taken seriously. So I was kind of like, all right, we have to recruit XYZ,
Right.
delegate more. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's like having just people who believe in the vision and people who really want to do the work because they believe in it, not because they're just getting paid to do it, was so important to me. And don't get me wrong, like all the people that left we're still friends. But sometimes it becomes one of those things where our friendships would be better if we worked separately.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
So-
Tess and I weren't even like friends, so it was a good good start for us.
Yeah.
They're still not friends.
Really how we became friends.
We're still not friends. Yeah, like I don't even know her.
We don't talk
Who are
outside of
you?
this or
It's fine.
anything. No.
Only at the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is our weekly meeting. Hello. I think that's really important for people to hear. I think season 1 we touched on that, like the importance of finding the right people to join the team. And I love that. I love that you don't feel pressure, guys, that you have to have like a huge team of 10 like working.
Yeah, it's
that,
not
that does
important.
not mean, and honestly that's like paperwork and logistics that you really need to be sure you're up for in the grand scheme.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, me and Carolina have talked about this with Femme Regard. We're like, we want to find people that we love working with and we can continue to like bring on for projects, but we might just stick with the 2 of us for the team because
At least
that's
the core
what gets
team,
stuff
right?
done. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Because we want to find our go-to cinematographers, like and editors that we can pair along with. So that way, that, and it don't, just because it's Femme Regard, she's brought her lovely DP friend over here. That's a guy. That doesn't mean we're excluding males. We love guys.
Kick him out of the room.
Yeah, shun. No, thank you for bringing her here today. Means so much. But yeah, that does not mean you gotta go. Don't ever think you have to make things look a certain way to make yourself legit.
And honestly, like,
Lack of better terms.
There's several sets I've been on where, they really push for all female productions, which is super freaking cool. And I love that. And I've done a few of those and I absolutely enjoyed my experience. But I also think it's empowering in a way to have women like head of productions, like, as your core people, but to also work with guys, because a lot of these things are like a lot of shoots like that are very like, no men allowed. And I'm kind of like,
we're kind of against that.
but it's awesome
Yeah.
because then you find people who are respectful and wonderful to work with
Exactly.
and who respect you. And being a head of department, it's super cool, in my opinion, to have a team full of dudes and I'm just there like calling shots and they have to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Working the way. No, just kidding. We don't do that.
No.
That's not what happens.
It's about empowerment, not, man hating.
Exactly. And I feel like that's how, like, you can't expect to never work with a man ever again in your life. And like, again, similar to the advertising, you want something to become a norm. Don't just like then create like
inclusivity, guys.
Right,
That's what it's all
exactly.
about.
Exactly. So I love that you said that too, because any more thoughts as being a woman in the industry that you would, I guess, advice to other women DPs, because that's not something typical. Like, I feel like it's super hard here to even break in. I think it's becoming a thing, but
It's becoming more normalized, which is
Yeah,
great. And
yeah.
I think, especially the past few years, oh my God, we've like, so much progress has been made, especially since the Weinstein thing.
Yeah.
Where women have more voice now and they're being seen more and heard more and respected more. And we've all worked so hard to make that happen. And I
Right.
feel like, we are so persistent and we face so much discrimination already that I feel like we've grown a pretty tough skin.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important to do that, is to keep persisting and keep pushing, and eventually your voice will be heard. You know, it's not something where you feel like you have to. And I did this too, where I feel like I had to kind of kowtow to certain things because if I didn't do that, people wouldn't take me seriously. Where I had to make myself seem more like broy and like a cool girl instead of like a certain way. But I don't know. I feel like if as long as you just push forward, it'll work.
And I feel like it shows too in your social posts. Like I even saw like that one dude that was such a jackass, sorry, and was like,
Oh, yeah.
you're being too showy. Like, why are you using your body? You're not. You're what? Girls can't be in her like shorts and a tank top shooting. Like,
Yeah, it was also the middle of summer in Michigan, so it was 100-something degrees outside.
Yeah.
And actually, in that particular photo, I think I was wearing pants and a jacket and like a bodysuit, so it wasn't even that showy. But he was. I remember that I was just kind of standing there,
specifically,
yeah, with the
'cause I was
camera,
like, what the?
with a walkie-talkie in my hand. I was actually just in the middle of talking to my G&E team about bringing units over, and someone snapped the photo, and I was like, oh, this is a cool like action moment.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, you have your tits out. Like, how dare you? This is why people can't take women seriously. I'm an advocate for women in film, and you're ruining everything. And I was kind of like, dude, if you want to see sexy photos of me DPing, I have those. This is not one of them.
Yeah.
Like, this is the wrong photo for you to be commenting on. But at the same time, like, who the fuck cares what you wear?
Exactly.
As long as you can do your job. Like, my gaffer actually commented on that, and sorry, my key grip actually commented on that, and she's this like also incredible strong woman who's very, very good at her job, and she was just like, you can wear a fucking penguin suit for all I care, as long as you come to set, do your thing, and make it look good.
Exactly.
And I was like, why isn't that the precedent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that stuff, like that just like blew me out of the water, because I agree. I feel like why do I have to wear a long sleeve shirt and long like jeans
For you to take me
taken
seriously, excuse me. And the worst thing is, obviously throughout history, that doesn't happen to guys. I don't know if you guys saw, there's a really great behind the scenes photo of a moment on Star Wars where the boom op was in his like fucking Speedo because it was so hot on set, holding the mic.
Yeah.
And everyone's like,
no,
whoa,
but
look at
we're
this
gonna
dude.
find this photo.
Yeah, and he's like, look at this dude. It's so funny that he's in a Speedo. But if I just wear a tank top and shorts, suddenly I'm not professional. Like,
Right.
excuse me?
Right.
What?
Excuse me?
What is
No,
this double standard?
exactly.
I mean, hopefully that's the next wave of,
Yeah.
women in film is we're going to be there, first of all. We're going to be represented, and then we're going to be respected. And people are going to give a shit what we wear because that's not what's important.
There was a mini movement going on Instagram. I actually haven't caught up with it. I don't really know what's happening, but there's a female director who, very accomplished like TV director, and she posted a photo of herself in her bikini in the pool at a hotel saying, this is me right before I went to my pitch meeting for my TV show. This is what directors look like. You know, there's no need for us to feel like we have to look or dress or act a certain way to be, at least there shouldn't be, for us to be
Take it
heard.
seriously.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
So that was cool.
I love that. Yes, we'll hunt that down after
As well.
this as
Yeah.
well, and give you guys all the deets, because I think that's super important. And like, I am someone who is always like, I want to express myself any way I can, no matter what background I carry, my religion, like who I am, what do I appear like. I just want to be me. And like, I feel like that is something that you express through your characters, your filmmaking, everything. And so then to be shunned by like little petty things like that gets me so irritated. But that's another
That's a rat.
tirade.
That's a rat for
But,
later.
yeah. But why don't you tell us a little, just to kind of in closing comments, words, where do you see yourself moving, going to, growing? Like,
Yeah, what are your goals? What are
your
things you
goals
wanna
you're
do?
excited about, and something maybe that like inspires you?
Yeah.
So I just recently wrapped a feature I was shooting this year, and it just premiered in Ojai. So moving forward, obviously, you get your first feature done, and that's kind of what I'm looking to do. I
Yeah.
am, however, also trying to grow like my directing work. It's been too long since I've made my short film from years ago, and it's something that I've been itching to move into. So in this industry, a lot of people say you have to focus on one thing or another thing, especially when it comes to skills and crafts. And I really believed that for a while, and I really struggled with like, do I want to be a DP? Do I want to be a director? Do I want to DP? Do I want to be a director? And inspiration wise, talking to and conversing with people like Reed Morano, who has successfully done both, and incredibly so, and just been so good at everything she does. That's really inspired me to still pursue both.
Do it.
Yeah, but I think like
Yes.
making time is difficult, especially when you're juggling these
Mhm.
things and running a company on top of that.
Yeah.
The whole
We
thing.
don't know that life. Not at all.
Yeah, so
It's a
that's
lot.
kind of the next moves.
Yeah.
And so working on directing and developing more projects that I really love and care about. And yeah, so fingers crossed. And obviously I want to become more bi-coastal, so looking to come to LA more often. I used to hate
Yes.
it, honestly. It was that like East Coast versus West Coast
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And I thought people here just had it too good, like good weather, good food, excuse me, like you're right next to the beach. How dare you guys not suffer with us in New York City
Yeah.
over the winter months?
Hashtag all my New York friends. Yes,
Exactly.
I hear you.
But I think it's been good. It's been good to travel a lot recently, which I did, and I think that's what I can recommend anyone else to do. Honestly, if you're in the film industry, get out there in the world, like travel, meet more people, meet more people. Did I say I said people? Meet more people and see new things and experience new cultures, and it really does like show you so much. You know, teaches you so much more about the world than you can
Yeah.
from behind a screen.
Absolutely. And tell our listeners too how they can find you.
My Instagram handle is it's.bellatan. And my website is isabella-tan.com. And yeah, that's about it. I don't have a Twitter anymore. I think since the last 3 years, I've just escaped Twitter. It's like this whole.
I mean, like we have one, but
Tessa managed to say I'm like so
I just share what we
far
post on
from
everything
it,
else
and
to
that's
Twitter.
it.
and
There you
that's
go.
it.
Yeah, that
That's
works.
it.
But yeah, mostly Instagram. And my website and Rebel Motion's website is
Yes.
rebel-motion.com, and our Instagram handle is rebel_motion. And yeah, we're a woman-led production company as well in New York City and internationally, and we love to do branded content and fashion films and music videos, and that's my pitch.
Yeah. So
Fantastic.
guys, if you are looking for someone like Miss Isabella Tan, do you like to be called by? I call you Bella, but like
Most of my friends call me Bella. Isabella is just what my mom wants because she wanted me to be named after the Spanish queen for some bizarre
okay.
reason. And mostly because people at my school that I grew up in just couldn't pronounce my Chinese name.
Oh,
So they
okay.
told my mom
Oh.
she had to give me an English name. So she's like, well, if I give her an English name, it's going to be a freaking badass one.
Yeah.
So
Isabella.
Isabella. Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you,
in today.
guys.
Guys, check her out on all the social media and the websites and all that. And we had a great time chatting.
Thanks for coming, girl.
Yes.
Of course.
And thank you, listeners. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Femme Regard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in next time for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals over tea.
We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. If you leave us a great comment, we might give you a shout out on the show. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.